Well, summer camps are right around the corner, and a lot of families are starting to finalize their plans for the kiddos. A university here in Austin wants to offer families a place for their child's development and mental health. So they're offering some very specific camps to help build their confidence, independence, and social skills.
So joining us today is Dr. Cindy Melendez with Concordia University. Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Okay, I took a look through some of these camp offerings, and man, I wish that I had gotten to go to some of these. I'll list a few for you. Organization and planning skills camp, digital literacy camp, time, stress, and balance camp, music, artificial intelligence, investing, trading, and budgeting.
Never had that.
I still need to go to that camp. So talk about how these camps are maybe differ from the picture a family might have in their head of summer camp.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give you some insight on how even these camps came about is, as we're seeing our students come to us at the college level, we're noticing that there are some skills that may be helpful as they transition into higher ed. And that's exactly how these camps came about, right? When you're talking about digital literacy, you're talking about AI, you're talking about finance. Many of these camps, they really target those skills that can really be developed as young as 15, 16, even younger for some of our other camps, where they're learning those skills in a real way, in a time that is with professionals, with faculty members that are very knowledgeable, and most importantly with their peers, right? We know, and the research shows, that with peers, they learn really quickly and they also have fun learning.
What do you hope parents want their kids to walk away from with this camp, and then also the campers too, when it comes to, because you're talking about life skills that I don't think a lot of people get to really focus on in the summer either.
Yeah, well, priority is that they come across with those life skills, right? That there is something tangible that they're coming away from spending some time during our camps. I would say that that's the number one priority, right? And many of our camps actually offer certificates of completion. We would definitely encourage our students to start putting it on their resume, putting it as they're applying for scholarships, right? That they've completed these camps. But I would also say a second priority, if you will, would be that they have fun, that these are memories, right? They get to be on a college campus, a beautiful college campus. They get to build that confidence of being in a setting like that. And I think that would be a second priority for us as they walk away.
What are you hearing from families that have either taken part in these camps or are signing up? What are they really looking for?
Yeah, so we do have a history of offering several sports camps in the community, and that's really how this has started in the past. And we always hear just feedback that our students that come to our campus are just having so much fun, right? And that's the feedback that we really prioritize some of these camps with. But from the parents, we're noticing that there is just a need to have something to do over the summer, and something that is not a heavy lift for parents, right? They come to our campus, they drop our students off for a day, sometimes they come back for several days, and with that they can see in real time how their students are learning those skills and being able to talk about it in their own language as well.
And when it comes to, like you said, having some fun, what are some examples that you can give us of why not only this is something that you could put on your resume, which is amazing at this age, but also why it's a camp where you're still going to be socializing with a lot of people, right?
Yeah. So I'll give you a very tangible example. So we have a music camp, and that is for our high school level musicians. And there is no rehearsal requirement to be able to attend this camp. So every year, what we see is a mixture of students with different skills, everything from being able to play the flute, percussion, and even students who sign up who are really behind the scenes and trying to just get into the audio-visual space. And with that, the fun part really comes at the end of that camp, because our professor, what she does is she gets everyone's skills and talents and puts together a major performance at the end of the camp where you really see everyone's skills just shine. And I think that's where the fun is, right? Is that there is no set, what I would think, a standard that needs to be met at the end of the camp. There is something beautiful that comes together when you have these students just bring their talents together and showcase that.
Incredible. Okay, we do want to ask, because we have been talking a lot about the headlines that the tragedy last summer at Camp Mystic, the impact that's had on families, maybe feeling nervous, parents feeling nervous to send their kids to a camp, maybe students nervous to leave home, be away from family. What would you say to parents who maybe even just the word camp brings up some different big feelings this year?
Yeah, well, first of all, our thoughts and prayers are with those families. It is just an unimaginable tragedy that affected Central Texas as a whole. And with that, I think it's suffice to say that it's really up to every family to make a decision that makes sense for them, right? As a parent myself, what I would recommend is ask questions, ask about the safety protocols, feel comfortable about the environment that your child will be in, and most importantly, make a decision that makes sense for you as a whole. And so that would be what I would recommend. And as I work at Concordia, I can say that there are safety protocols in place that we have. Everywhere from real-time communication metrics, from campus-wide notifications, and even an on-campus police department as well. And so with that in mind, I would just encourage families to really just think through those pieces and ask questions when they don't have answers to that.
That's good advice. All right, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today. And of course, we'll link information on how to go to those camps on our website at KXAN.